When I moved to Seattle, I went back to curating. So I was curating for the Seattle Art Museum and curating a couple of shows around the city. And it was a venture capitalist. And a venture capitalist is someone who funds entrepreneurs, essentially. She found me. An article was written about me in Seattle Magazine, and she called Seattle Art Museum and said, I want to meet this Erika Massaquoi. So literally, she found me, took me out to coffee, learned about my background, and she was like, well, you're in Seattle now, and everybody here is an entrepreneur, and I think you should start a company. If you could start a company, what company would you start? So I said, well, I'd always been interested in fashion, and I have a huge collection of vintage fashion and a huge collection of African textiles. And I felt that there was room in the market for a company that would take African textiles and create what I was thinking about as modern resort wear for mothers on the go. You know, I'd always worn really bold and bright prints, but I wanted them to fit the silhouette of American sportswear. Easy, swingy dresses, you know, 60s style silhouettes, 70s style silhouettes, resort dresses, beautiful scarves, beautiful jewelry. Items that you could pop on and pop off. So I essentially just did it. I did not write a business plan. I took my curating money, and for the first time, I invested in myself. You know, the majority of my career had been about supporting other professors and other artists, and I'd never had the opportunity to create anything on my own. So I took a trip to Ghana. I learned all I could about textile production, and I just did it. So the Oula company, we are female designed and female owned. We are made in Seattle, Ghana, as well as Sierra Leone. We're sustainable, and we give back. We give back by supporting artisans in Ghana. We work with a group of artisans that collect all the, that create all of the jewelry we make, and we also do production. We source from markets in Freetown, Sierra Leone, and our tailors are also in Sierra Leone. So it's a way for me to create art and design as a catalyst for economic development, and art and design as a catalyst for public policy. These are classes that I taught for many years when I was a professor, and so it was an opportunity for me to put my money where my mouth was, and I just did it. And I'm really glad that I did it. It's been actually the most rewarding experience of my life. I feel that everything that I've learned by working in art and design in the past 25 years have just become full circle for me. Professionally, personally, I was ready for the opportunity, and I intuitively knew how to do it. One of the reasons I started the Oula company is that I saw that there was general audiences were really becoming interested in African textiles, but you could really only buy them if it wasn't at the market level. You could only really buy them in the luxury market. So I really wanted to create a line that was entry-level luxury, that working girls essentially could wear, that would become accessible for them. So we figured out how to take 6 yards and 12 yards of fabric and really produce them in quantity, which is a true labor of love. People don't realize that, when you see dresses on a rack in the store, most of the time they're usually like, cut by a machine and made by a machine. But all of our fabric, I personally unpack it, stack it, iron it, hand cut it, and one of 3 women sew every garment that we make for the Oula company. So it's the closest thing to couture at a reasonable price that I think that you'll get in the US.